Helen's boy toy was giving me grief again. I'm so in love with Helen, he whined. Can't you just give her to me? She sat there, saying nothing, but then she texted me. Just agree. Play along, humor him. I did as she wanted and agreed. I silently packed my things, moving out of the house we shared. As I left, I heard her friend teasing. He's so whipped. Huh? Bet you could get him to walk away with nothing, too. She raised an eyebrow, a relaxed look on her face. Wanna bet? A week from now, she'll be the one crying and screaming outside the courthouse. But I still did as I was told. I didn't say a word. Silently, I opened a message from someone else. Will you marry me? Yes. Really? An emoji with sparkling eyes popped up from the other end. I pressed down on my phone, not planning to reply just yet. The sounds of laughter and chatter continued from the living room. If he really divorces her, I'll let you borrow my new car for 3 months. That's it? I want it for a year. Done. The voice inside suddenly got louder. The group started hooting and hollering. I went back to my room, randomly stuffing things into my suitcase. Whatever I saw, I tossed in. Helen had fallen for a guy 7 years younger, Alex. She bought him cars, houses, took him traveling around the world. But Alex wouldn't even let her hold his hand. You're already married, he'd say. We can't do something that would wrong your husband. That outburst really got to Helen. She felt terrible for Alex. She flew back immediately to divorce me, planning to wave the divorce papers in his face to appease him. Back then, I'd fought with her about it, unable to accept such an absurd reason for divorce. She'd held me, comforting me. It's just for show. I'll get the papers back in a few days. Okay? MHM. But it hadn't even been that long. And now Alex was in my face, collapsing into Helen's arms. I'm so in love with Helen. Can't you just give her to me? Her friends all urged me to be magnanimous, not to bother with a young kid. Helen sat by, silent, seemingly reluctant, but she was frantically texting me. Just agree. Play along, humor him. Caved again. This time, another message popped up on my phone. Really? Really? You're not kidding, are you? My face flushed. I replied instantly. Really, really, really. I'm not kidding. Just as I finished packing, Helen took me to the hospital. She was in a great mood on the way, discussing how we should celebrate my birthday this year. Since this is our 5th birthday together, and our 5th anniversary, I saw a few islands, all gorgeous. Honey, which one do you like? She kissed my cheek. Oh, I forgot, Honey loves Malaysia. We'll buy that one then. Only when we got out of the car did she notice the tear tracks on my face. She was about to wipe them away, but I slapped her hand aside. I didn't say a word. It wasn't until she took me to the courthouse, and we were facing the officials' questions, that she finally tried to soothe me. Don't be mad, honey. Worst case, we'll just get married again next time. That kid really is a handful. The clerk looked like they'd seen it all a million times, asked a few perfunctory questions, and then told us to wait for the papers. Helen sat next to me, waiting with me. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw her constantly texting Alex. Okay. Divorce takes time, you know. I'll come back as soon as he's done. Okay? You promised I could kiss you today. Don't go back on your word. But Alex kept fussing. Seeing that I was being cooperative, Helen decided to just get up and leave. Honey, something came up. I have to go. You can get the papers yourself. I've already arranged the new apartment for you. Just take a cab there later. She walked quickly, her words rushing out. She was gone before I could respond. I didn't speak, watching the bustling service windows quiet down. Just as I stepped out of the courthouse, an image popped up on my phone. It was a plane ticket from London back to China. Wait for me. I didn't go to the apartment Helen had prepared for me. Instead, I went back to my old neighborhood, the one I lived in before we got married. The familiar atmosphere washed over me, and I couldn't help but think of the Helen from back then. I grew up an orphan, always supported by anonymous long-distance sponsors. After she found out, I had moved into the old apartment complex she'd bought, and had successfully gotten into college. She cut off contact. That winter, Helen's family happened to move in downstairs from me. Back then, she always loved running upstairs to find me. Knowing I loved roasted chestnuts, she'd bring a bag every night, still warm, and knock on my metal door. The door would rattle with her loud knocks. I'd open it, to see a bright smile behind the faint steam. She'd squeeze past me into my apartment, peel a chestnut, blow on it and hold it to my lips. Here, here, careful, it's hot. My head would be buzzing as I took the chestnut from her hand. A moment later it would hit her, and her face would turn beet red. Later I went to college up north, and she went south. Even though we were miles apart, on the first day of winter, she'd always be there waiting for me with a bag of roasted chestnuts, patiently peeling them and blowing them cool for me. It was only natural that we ended up together. Later we got married. She started a successful business, and we moved into a villa. But she never bought me roasted chestnuts in winter again. She'd even ask, "Haven't you had enough of those after all these years?" I believe the love back then was real, but true feelings can change in an instant. The ding of my phone pulled me back from my thoughts. I looked at the photo Alex had sent. Her bare shoulder was exposed, Alex pressing Helen's head into his neck. His pale hand gripped her back, his eyes hazy. It wasn't hard to guess what they were doing. I rushed to the bathroom, retching for a long time. The first thing I did when I recovered was block and delete her number. My phone buzzed. A message from Melody, a gif of a puppy wagging its tail. "Hey, what you doing? I miss you." Melody was my desk mate in high school. I had barely scraped into the magnet school. When school started, they had this peer tutoring program, and I was paired with Melody. She had these monolids, and when her gaze swept over me, it felt so fierce I'd flinch. I'd instinctively try to make myself smaller. For a long time, I didn't say a word to her, until one day during the lunch break she was napping. I was so anxious to get water. I just climbed out the window. It was my first time, so I landed right on my butt. I heard a laugh from above. I looked up to see Melody leaning on the windowsill, a smile on her face. I was a bit embarrassed and angry, which made me bolder. "When did you wake up?" "Right when you were struggling to climb back in. I was wondering if you'd fall. Didn't think you actually would." She grinned, her shoulders shaking as she turned her head. I stared, suddenly realizing my deskmate wasn't so hard to get along with after all. Later, I started asking her questions proactively. She'd always explain things thoroughly, giving me extra examples. If there was a day I just couldn't get it, she'd buy me a stack of practice workbooks. She said if I finished them all, I'd master it. Sometimes, when I thought she was tired of teaching me, I'd offer her a milk tea as a small token. This went on until the year we were streamed into different classes. She naturally went to the honors program. Before she moved, she asked for my contact info. But after adding me, she never said anything. Until a week ago when she got in touch again. She asked how I'd been lately. At that moment, I was a crying mess after getting the divorce papers. I didn't realize I'd accidentally hit the voice call button. She listened quietly on the other end for half an hour as I sobbed. From my broken words, she figured out I'd just gotten divorced. Later, when Alex came to harass me again, she sent me that message. "Will you marry me?" Listening to the laughter outside, I looked at that beautiful woman with the unfamiliar smile. Yes. Since that day, Melody became much warmer. I never realized in high school that she could talk so much. Every day she'd ask what I was doing, what I was eating, and send a sad little emoji, saying she missed me. Her presence in my life eased the loneliness quite a bit. 3 days later, Helen sent me a photo. It looked like she was having dinner with her parents. "Honey, it's been 2 days. Why haven't you called me? How's the new place? Bet you can't sleep well without me holding you, right?" If I wasn't mistaken, that sliver of a fair arm in the photo belonged to Alex. I replied bluntly, "You and Alex seem to be doing just fine." He insisted on coming. Couldn't say no. But my parents quite like him. He's great at charming old folks. I'll have him teach you a few things sometime. After all, I was an orphan. No one ever taught me how to interact with elders. That familiar bitterness, which I'd managed to suppress, rose up again. I didn't reply to her. That evening, Helen called me. The cleaning service I hired said you haven't been to the new place. Where did you go? I sighed, not bothering to hide the irritation in my voice. Helen chuckled. What's wrong? Are you picking up Alex's habit of throwing tantrums? I told you it's just an act. When I get tired of him, I'll still be with you. Come on, tell me where you are now. I'll come find you. I thought about it. After all these years, I really wanted to make a clean break. Okay, I said softly. My old place before we got married. You know it. Helen always did whatever she thought of, right away. I worried she'd rush over immediately. I forced myself to get up and wait for her in the living room. But all I got was a light drizzle starting outside the window. The wind blew through the window, ruffling my hair. The night rain was cold. As I was closing the window, I made a call. The call was quickly disconnected. Soon, a voice message came through. So dramatic. I bought him a luxury condo, and he won't live in it. Insists on going back to that dump. Who even likes him? At first, I thought he was kind of cute and clueless. Turns out, all it took was a bag of roasted chestnuts each year to make him fall in love with me, like he'd never had anything good in his life. I only married him because I couldn't get the person I really wanted, and I didn't want to find someone else. He was clean and obedient, just too vanilla in bed. Alex is so much better. More energetic, more fun. Come here, baby. Let me kiss you. The voice message ended abruptly. My heart shattered. I thought, there's no way Helen and I can part amicably. I sat there numbly until morning. The old metal door rattled gently. A woman's voice called out, "William, it's me." I walked dazedly to open the door. I hadn't seen Melody in a long time. She looked more composed than before, not at all like the lively girl from high school. She was holding a bag of roasted chestnuts. The image of her face suddenly merged with Helen's. The voice message echoed in my ears again. I violently knocked the bag from her hands, my vision blurring. Get out. I don't want to see you. Helen's company wasn't too busy, so she took Alex out to have fun. A group of them booked a mountain villa. In the afternoon, while they were soaking in the hot springs, the drowsy crowd was jolted awake by a shout. Holy crap, the heir to the Whites is back in the country. Dude, didn't you have a project you wanted to pitch to the Whites? Now that the heir is back, maybe you can try to connect. Helen immediately ripped the towel off her forehead and swam over, wanting to see if it was true. But her friend's face suddenly looked strange, clutching his phone tightly. No, wait. I misread. Not many people caught on. At his words, everyone started moving towards him. What's going on? Let me see. Yeah, right. I've met the White's heir. Maybe I can tell you if it's legit. The phone's owner couldn't hold on to it. He watched helplessly as it was snatched away. Someone saw it and exclaimed, "Whoa!" Back in the country and already having a steamy encounter. He's holding a guy in his arms. Hey, this guy looks really familiar. Now they finally understood why their friend had suddenly said he misread. Their friend was being cheated on. Who would dare say it out loud? Helen sensed something was wrong and snatched the phone. In the misty rain, Melody was being carried by a man, getting into a car in the light drizzle. The man's face was obscured, but she recognized him. Those shoes were the ones she had bought for William. The thought hit her, and she immediately got up and threw on her clothes. Someone, not understanding, asked anxiously, "Hey, where are you going?" "Alex will be here any minute." She cursed under her breath, her face cold. "William, he ran off with someone else." At her words, everyone exchanged bewildered glances. Helen was already furious, her blood boiling, her head spinning. Her gut told her, if she didn't go now, she'd never find William again. She floored it, racing towards the old neighborhood, calling him on the phone. She didn't even notice a luxury car speeding in the opposite direction. The phone just rang and rang. No one answered, but Helen's heart was pounding. She rushed up to the familiar floor in the old building, kicked the door open. The entire apartment was empty. Nothing. Helen stood there, stunned, forced to accept the truth. William really didn't want her anymore. It wasn't until we were in the car, much later, that my mind cleared. Melody, beside me, had been silent the whole time. I glanced over at her and saw her left cheek was a little swollen. I touched my nose guiltily. "Are you okay?" The person who had been staring out the window suddenly turned to look at me, a hurt expression on her face. No, my face really hurts. So I had hit her. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw the driver in front widen his eyes, then quickly look away as if he couldn't bear to watch. I felt like she must have a lot she wanted to say. Melody looked a little peeved. She used her hand to turn my head fully towards her. "Don't look away." "Okay." Our eyes met. After a long silence, I broke it. "I'm sorry. I don't know what came over me. I just suddenly—" Melody's eyes softened with pity. She stroked my head and said, "Actually, it's my fault. I remembered you loved roasted chestnuts in high school, so I thought I'd bring you some when we met. I didn't realize it would trigger such bad memories for you. I only just found out. That horrible woman used roasted chestnuts to win you over, tricking you into marrying her. I have other food. Want a croissant first?" Melody said. This croissant was her favorite. From when she went to high school in Seaside City. She'd tried it again. Tasted just like it used to. "You try it too." The driver up front was very perceptive. He steered with one hand and passed the croissant from the passenger seat to me. I opened the package. Sure enough, the buttery aroma filled the air. I contentedly ate the whole thing, and then asked, "Where are we going?" Melody rested her head on my shoulder, sounding a bit tired. "To my place first. I thought we'd be there soon, but the car drove for a full 4 hours, all the way out of the province, to downtown Clearview City. To be honest, apart from college, I'd rarely left the province. This place was completely different from Seaside City. Everywhere there were lush, tall, beautiful sycamore trees. After sleeping one night in the guest room Melody prepared, I spoke up. "Can you take me to see a therapist? If we're really going to be together in the future, I can't keep hurting you because of Helen. It's not fair to you." Melody, who was dishing out noodles for me, paused, as if she couldn't believe it. "I was just wondering how to bring this up with you. I was afraid you'd keep living in pain." I was a bit surprised. So there really was someone who genuinely cared about me. After we ate, she took me to the therapist she had booked appointments with long ago. The doctor had a kind smile. "So this is the person you've been booking me for a month for?" My face grew hot. I didn't understand. Melody smiled and said, "Because I didn't know when I'd be able to bring you in for treatment, I booked all the available slots." I whispered a thank you, and she got up and left the therapy room. Because I was cooperative. The doctor said I didn't have any major psychological issues. As long as I avoided triggers and had more positive experiences, the incident from that night where I mistook her for someone else wouldn't happen again. I thanked the doctor and walked out of the room. I waved at Melody. "I'm okay." Melody strode over to me, then stopped herself restrainfully. I took the initiative to reach out and hug her. "Thank you." Melody wasn't like Helen. She didn't choose to keep me cooped up at home. Instead, she gave me the option to go out and work. After being out of society for so long, I really didn't know what I should do. She said, "How about being my assistant? I happen to be short one person. I don't trust anyone else." I thought about it for a moment and decisively agreed. The next day, I went to work with her. The first time I accompanied her to a business dinner, I happened to run into one of Helen's friends, Bruce. When he saw me, he was so shocked he almost dropped his glass. "William, what are you doing here?" As he grabbed my wrist, Melody had just stepped away from my side for a minute. I panicked, terrified by Bruce, struggling constantly. I shouted angrily, "Let go of me. No way, no way. You're worth a lot right now. I have to call Helen to come get you and claim the reward." Saying that, he dragged me into the adjacent private room, locked the door, and started calling Helen. Hey, buddy, I caught William. The real deal. If I'm lying, we're done as friends. After a quick chat with Helen, Bruce shoved the phone into my hands. He paced excitedly around the room. I looked at Helen's enlarged face on the screen, so scared I threw the phone away. My breathing became rapid. William, pick up the phone. You don't answer my calls. You don't come home. Where are you now? Speak. My voice trembled as I spoke. Helen, we're divorced anyway. Can't we just go our separate ways from now on? Helen on the other end was silent for a moment. Then she yelled, What did you say? Did I say I wanted a real divorce with you? Didn't I tell you I was just acting with him? Why won't you believe me? I swallowed hard. But I'm not an idiot. I know you've kissed him, slept with him. Helen, you disgust me. The next second, I immediately hung up the phone. Bruce stood by, dumbfounded. Seeing I was about to leave, he immediately grabbed me. You can't go. You're coming back to Seaside City with me. I struggled, banging against the wall, hoping to make some noise, to attract someone to open the door. Dream on. Didn't you hear what I said? I told you. I'm already divorced from her. Bruce held on to me, texting Helen on his phone. Don't worry, man. As long as I'm here, he's not going anywhere. Bruce was much stronger than me. He dragged me into a corner, pulled out a thick rope from somewhere, and tied my hands and feet. Sorry, buddy, you'll have to rough it for a bit. Once we're back, we'll be living the good life. I whimpered, glaring at him. Bang! The door to the private room was kicked open. Bruce immediately stood in front of me, yelling, Hey, who are you? Get out. We're just a couple playing around here. Wait, Melody, what do you think you're doing? With that, Melody kicked Bruce to the side, knelt down and untied me. She comforted me. I'm sorry. I'm late. Bruce still hadn't figured out what was going on. He sidled up, recklessly saying, Melody, you rushing in here to snatch my guy. That's not cool, right? I've already had this one. How about I recommend someone else to you? Melody looked at Bruce as if he were already dead. This is my fiancé. For kidnapping my fiancé here today, I can terminate all our contracts. Expect a call from my lawyers. Bruce finally reacted. His face turned pale, and his legs went weak from fear. No, wait. He's Helen's man. How could he be Melody's? Melody, there must be some misunderstanding. Melody's bodyguards didn't give Bruce any more chances to speak. Covering his mouth directly, she took me to her usual private hospital, acting very anxious, and had me checked from head to toe. Only after confirming I was really okay did she let out a sigh of relief. She patted my back reassuringly. It's okay now. I patted her back in return to comfort her. Melody buried her head in my neck, holding me very tightly. You have no idea how scared I was when I turned around and you weren't there. After we got back, Melody dealt with Bruce swiftly. She pulled some strings and completely ruined them. And Bruce would never get out of prison. After this incident, Melody insisted on taking me everywhere with her, never letting me out of her sight. Sometimes she got so paranoid that even when she went to the bathroom at home, she wanted me to come in. I looked at her, somewhat amused. Men and women should keep their distance. She took my hand. We can be close. I wordlessly pulled my hand away and decisively closed the door. Then I ran to the kitchen to splash cold water on my burning face. Melody had been getting more and more forward these days, but I wasn't ready for anything yet. While waiting for Melody to come out, I opened phone which I hadn't logged into for a long time. Instantly, over 99 messages flooded in. Without exception, they were all from Helen's friends trying to find out where I was. Among them, one or two kind souls advised me to run far away. They said Helen was acting like a mad woman, offering a bounty to anyone who could bring me back to her. 508,000. 508 happened to be my birthday. I didn't bother replying, blocking them all. Suddenly, the world became quiet. Only a few people were left, updating their mundane daily lives on their feeds. Helen walked over, hugging me tightly from behind. What are you looking at? Her breath was hot on my ear. I couldn't help but inch away. Melody allowed me to slowly increase the distance between us. She sat down next to me and asked, "William, when are you going to make an honest woman out of me?" My heart skipped a beat. For a moment, I really didn't know how to answer. But wasn't it because I agreed to Melody's marriage proposal that I was able to escape in the first place? It was already very late. After thinking for a moment, I said earnestly, "Tomorrow." Melody, beside me, seemed to freeze for a second, looking very surprised. "You actually agreed? No wonder, no wonder. Helen could manipulate you." She tugged at my hand, dropping her earlier playful tone. "Serious and sincere. I was just teasing you. If you don't want to, we never have to get married. I know you're not ready in your heart right now. It's okay, we can take it slow. But you can only think about me. No one else." I had thought she would be happy. Turning to meet her gaze, I nodded repeatedly. Okay. I did feel a sense of relief. Indeed, right now I could only accept holding her hand. Anything else seemed truly out of the question. What made me a little nervous because Melody was being cheeky was that the next day she asked me to take leave, and even gave me a kitten. After that, every day when I came home, seeing that silver tabby, my eyes would light up. The first thing I'd do was scoop it into my arms and snuggle it. Melody always looked a little wronged but didn't dare say anything. Until one day, she invited a tailor over to measure me. "There's a banquet coming up that I can't get out of. I'll take you." I had never attended such a gathering, so I was naturally a bit nervous. She held my hand reassuringly. "Even though we might never get married, you are still my fiancé. I can't very well take another man, can I?" My cheeks flushed. I nodded in a bit of a fluster. But just as we arrived at the banquet hall, we ran into a familiar figure. Helen. She had another man by her side. I glanced over, frowning in disgust. A few days ago, Alex had also come to Seaside City. He was wearing outdated designer clothes. When he saw me, his eyes were full of venom. I ignored him, walking the kitten outside. When I reached a shadowy spot, he suddenly spoke. "It's all your fault." I stopped, turning back puzzled. "What does it have to do with me?" He walked closer, his eyes locked on me. "If you hadn't disappeared, she wouldn't have given me the cold shoulder. If you had hidden properly, and Bruce hadn't found you, she wouldn't have dumped me. She promised she would marry me. Now you've ruined everything." I scoffed. "But wasn't my disappearance your doing? Nagging her over and over, making her divorce me, making me get out of that house, making me overhear those awful things she said. When she kicked me out, didn't you ever think she might abandon you one day too? Truth is, you don't dare confront her. You only dare to vent on me. Right now, we're both victims." Alex blinked, eager to refute. "No, that's not it. You think I haven't tried to find her? I really can't. When she liked me, she said if I was willing to kiss her, to sleep with her, she'd do anything for me." As he spoke, he himself seemed to become confused. I guessed he was starting to realize. Helen, whether she was good to me in the past, or good to him now, it was all to satisfy her desire for conquest. Love? She didn't have any. I said softly, "You understand it yourself. I don't need to say more." I picked up the kitten and left, leaving him standing there alone, stunned. Now Helen was using me as an excuse to abandon Alex, and then turn around and find another boy. Truly disgusting. I entered the hall with Melody on my arm, constantly feeling a pair of sticky eyes, locked on me from behind. No matter where I went, I couldn't shake them off, until those sticky eyes approached me for a toast. "You look very familiar. Looks like my runaway husband." I didn't want to talk to her. It was nauseating, seeing I wasn't speaking, and wanted to escape. Helen grabbed my wrist. "Why are you running? Didn't you choose to come here yourself? What's with the playing hard to get now?" I looked at her coldly and said, "Helen, I don't understand what you're talking about. Such a temper. But you still came obediently, didn't you?" Saying that, she showed me our chat history. You're saying this isn't you?" These past few days I'd been busy studying, working, walking the cat. Apart from Melody's messages, I hadn't replied to anyone. Thinking of this, couldn't help but gag again. Helen, I remember you have an escort. Helen froze, then burst out laughing. Honey, are you jealous? I just found someone random to make you angry. If you're jealous, just tell me. I'll dump him on the spot. Is that how you treated Alex too? I cut her off coldly. And you're too conceited. Do you think I came here for you today? Helen chuckled. Otherwise, you're not going to tell me you came for Melody, are you? Take a look at yourself, how old you are. Why would she even be interested in you? I followed her gaze. Melody was chatting with several important people. Everyone was quietly centered around her. So dazzling. But she was willing to stoop down and listen to me speak. Wasn't it because I was equally dazzling? Why wouldn't I be good enough for her? Thinking this, I stood up even straighter. At least you're not good enough. Helen was getting annoyed. Can't you just be obedient? Behave tonight. If you piss off Melody, how are we supposed to live our lives? I ignored her, walking straight towards Melody. Helen was getting anxious. William, why are you walking so fast? Are you crazy? Her voice was a bit loud, drawing a lot of attention. I didn't care about anyone else. I walked straight over and took Melody's hand. Melody turned to look at me, froze for a second, then smiled. She held my hand even tighter. Helen, as if she hadn't noticed, walked over brazenly. Melody, my husband is a bit ill-mannered. Your husband? Melody's lips curved slightly upwards, but her eyes were ice cold. This is my husband. Everyone stood there, stunned. After all, no one expected Melody to get married so quietly, and to a man no one had ever heard of. The smile on Helen's face finally vanished. Melody, you can't be serious. Helen, we're already divorced. I told her, my voice firm. I don't believe everything back then was just an act. Just for fun. The pain you caused me was real. There's no possibility between us anymore. Do you understand? Stop harassing me. You're really annoying. Melody put her arm around my trembling shoulders and led me towards the break room. Sorry, my husband isn't feeling well. I'll take him to rest first. After saying that, she ignored everyone else and led me away from the scene. By the time we got back to the room booked for the banquet, my hands were still shaking. I looked up at Melody, who was getting me some water, and asked, do you think I'm being really selfish? You were still talking to people, and I just rudely interrupted. Melody brought the water to my lips, and I took several sips. She held my hand reassuringly. No, I'm very happy. Happy that you finally took the initiative to seek my protection. There were a lot of women eyeing you tonight. I was just thinking about how to declare my claim. You came to me proactively. I'm really very happy. Are you hungry? I'll have some food sent up, she asked. I shook my head. Suddenly remembering something, I looked up at her. You said just now that I was your husband. Her lips curved slightly, but her eyes were serious. Yes, I said, if you're willing. My heart skipped a beat. I looked down. But we haven't. No rush. She interrupted me, her voice gentle. I just want everyone to know that you're mine. No one can bully you ever again. My nose tingled, and I let out a muffled MHM. She suddenly leaned in, her forehead touching mine. She whispered, William. I looked up, meeting her gaze so close. Her eyelashes were long, her eyes reflecting the city lights from outside, like stars had fallen into them. From now on, whoever makes you uncomfortable, I'll make them even more uncomfortable. She said it so casually, but it made my heart tremble. Helen. I hesitated. She won't appear before you again, Melody said, getting up, her tone calm. I guarantee it. I was stunned for a moment, then suddenly smiled. How did you manage that? She raised an eyebrow, a hint of mischief in her eyes. Secret. I couldn't help but nudge her. Fine, don't tell me. She snuggled into my arms, the top of her head against my chin, her voice muffled. William, I'm a little jealous. Jealous of what? Jealous of that cat. She pouted. You hug it every day when you get home. You never hug me. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. I wriggled out of her embrace, deliberately putting on a stern face. Melody, how old are you? 3, she said, completely serious. I burst out laughing, reaching out to pinch her cheek. You're so childish. She grabbed my hand, her expression suddenly serious. But there's one thing I'm very serious about. Tomorrow, come with me somewhere. Where? The courthouse. She looked at me, her eyes blazing. To get our license. I froze. My heart was pounding like a drum. Hey, so soon? You said. But I was waiting until I was ready. I changed my mind, she said, looking at me defiantly. Your ex-wife keeps harassing you. It makes me very uncomfortable. Are you going to say yes or no? She leaned closer, her breath brushing my ear. I pushed her face away, muttering softly, yes. Not long after, Helen's company suffered a series of blows. First, partners pulled their investments. Then banks started calling in debts. Finally, even her properties were frozen. She begged everyone for help, but all her so-called friends avoided her. The whites put the word out. Anyone who helps you is an enemy of the whites. Someone told her in a low voice. Only then did Helen understand that Melody was serious about destroying her. Desperate, she shamelessly came to find me, kneeling before me, sobbing. William, I know I was wrong. Please, ask Melody to let me go. Okay? I promise I'll never bother you again. I looked at her pathetic state, feeling nothing at all. Helen, you brought this on yourself. I turned and left, without a second glance. As for Alex, he fared even worse than Helen. He was used to being spoiled by women, spending money lavishly. But after Helen abandoned him, he couldn't even afford rent. The buddies who used to idolize him now openly mocked him. You really thought you were some kind of prince? You were just a plaything. He was at his wit's end. He tried to get money from Helen, but she had already blocked him. Finally, his love turned to hate. One day, at a certain place, he found Helen and stabbed her. He was arrested by passers-by who called the police. One day, Melody was cuddling me in the yard, sunbathing. The little silver tabby cat was curled up on her lap, purring. I heard after Helen recovered from her injuries, she couldn't hold down any job. Now she's just begging on the streets, Melody said nonchalantly. I stroked the kitten's head, a faint smile on my face. Oh, that's good. Melody kissed me. Feel better now? She asked, looking up at me, her eyes full of laughter. No. Because I hooked my arm around her neck and whispered, I'm so happy now. I stopped caring about her a long time ago. Melody chuckled softly, capturing my lips with hers. That's even better. The sunlight spilled over us, warm and cozy. Even the wind felt gentle.